Life's lies too short to waste your smile where it is not valued. We all know how powerful a smile is. A smile can heal and open doors. A smile can melt the hardest hearts. But here's the question: hearts. Smile is wasted on people who neither value it nor respect the heart behind it. We share a source today on this very important subject. Opening hooker story plus humor once. Watering a plastic plant for 6 months. His wife finally asked him, "Why do you waste water on something that will never grow?" He said, "I was hoping one day it will understand my care and bloom." Friends, some of us are doing the same in life. We keep smiling, giving, sacrificing to people and places where we are not valued. And just like that man with the plastic plant, we end up exhausted, empty, and heartbroken. While your smile is a little cheap, my friends, have you ever walked into a shop and seen a board that says, "On Divian 2% discounter"? What is the first thought that crosses your mind? We feel, if it's this cheap, no, it's much. Isn't it true? When something is constantly available for almost nothing, its value in our eyes automatically drops. Now let me ask you, how often do we do the same thing with our smile, our kindness, and our time? We keep giving everywhere to everyone, even to those who don't value it. And then we wonder why it isn't respected. Your smile is not just a curve on your face, it's a reflection of your inner state, your positivity, your heart. Not an ordinary expression, it's a priceless jewel. Think about this. Have you noticed how people smile at babies? And how just one innocent smile of a baby can make whole room light up? That's power of a smile. It can heal, it can strengthen. But if we give away carelessly to those who neither understand it nor respect it, slowly we start feeling drained. Imagine for a moment you are in your office or classroom. You walk in with a cheerful smile, wishing everyone good morning. People smile back warmly. It energizes you, it makes you feel content. But then there are always those who don't even look up. Does your smile means nothing? You try after day and the response remains cold. Over time, what happens? Questioning yourself, but am I doing something wrong? Smile not good enough. The truth is the problem is not your smile. The problem is where you are spending it. Let me give you another example. If you had only 1,000 rupees in your wallet, just throw it on the street for anyone to pick up? Or will you keep it safely for something meaningful? We'll keep it safe, right? Now compare that with your smile. Is more valuable than money. Money can be earned again, but once your spirit gets broken from constant neglect, it takes a long time to heal. Yet, often throw away our smiles cheaply to impress people who don't care, to please people who don't notice. Stay accepted in circles where our presence hardly matters. Here's a daily life scenario you will relate to. Have you noticed how some people to make a friend group laugh, always cracking jokes, always adjusting, trying to be the funner person? But at the end of the day, when those friends have plans, they don't even call that person home, exhausted, a smile that was formed for others but left nothing inside. That, my friends, your smile cheap. Your worth is not in entertaining others who don't value. Sometimes, even in families or relationships, we do this. One partner keeps smiling, adjusting, sacrificing just to keep the peace. Deep inside is crying because that smile is never acknowledged, never valued. They fear that if they stop smiling, they may lose love, let approval. If love is dependent on you constantly proving yourself, it is not love, it's action. Real love, care, real friendship values your natural smile, not your forced one. The lesson is simple but powerful. Don't sell your smile cheap. Reserve it for the people, the situations, and the environments where it will be received with gratitude. That doesn't mean we stop being kind, or that we walk around with a frown. No, what it means is that must learn to channel our energy wisely. There's no seeds randomly on rocks. He studies the soil, finds where the growth will happen, and then invests his seeds. Similarly, your smile is your seed. Don't scatter it on stony hearts that will never appreciate it. Plant it can blossom into happiness in the lives of those who uplift you, respect you, and genuinely value you. Also a psychological angle here. When you keep smiling at people who don't value you, you knowingly give them permission to treat you as less. Your own actions set the tone. If you undervalue yourself, others will follow your example. But when you smile with dignity, when you choose carefully where to give your warmth, people begin to notice and value himself. This person has self-respect. And trust me, nothing is more attractive than a person who smiles from a place of self-worth rather than neediness. So today, I invite you to reflect the last few days. How many times you smiled to please someone who ignored it? How many times did you hide your pain behind for screen just to avoid conflict? And how many times you genuinely smile, but with people who made your heart feel safe? Learn the difference. Preserve your genuine smile, where it is seen as ordinary. Remember, friends, your smile is like sunlight. Sun doesn't go knocking on doors saying, "Value me." It simply shines. And those who understand its worth, those who don't, remain in darkness. The sunlight doesn't lose its brilliance because of closed windows. Similarly, your smile doesn't lose its value because some people don't respond. It remains priceless. So value your smiles. Sell it cheap. Give it to the world, but give wisely. And of all, never forget, Your smile is not just an expression, it's your signature, protected, respected, and offer it only where it will be treasured. Overwatering plastic plant. Dear friends, imagine this. Someone places a beautiful plant in your living room every day. Faithfully, you talk to, you even put it near sunlight so it can grow. Days pass, weeks pass, but nothing happens. The leaves stay exactly the same, the flowers never bloom, and the plant never grows. Then one fine day, you discover a real plant at all. It was plastic. Now tell me honestly, how would you feel? You would feel foolish, wouldn't you? Because all your love, care, energy, and attention went to something that never had the capacity to respond. It is like many of us do in life. We keep investing our smile, our love, our time, care in people and relationships that are like plastic plants. No matter how much you give, they will never grow. Reciprocate, never value your effort, because they don't the ability or willingness to respond. And here's the danger. Pouring water into plastic plants, two things will happen. First, we will waste our precious water. Second, the real plants in our life, the people who genuinely care for us, will get neglected. Too busy wasting ourselves on the wrong ones. Think about in your own life. Haven't you seen someone constantly chasing people who don't care about them? They keep calling, they keep messaging, trying to impress, they bend over backward to please. And what do they receive in return? Silence, coldness, times even disrespect. It's sending gift after gift to someone who doesn't even unwrap them. After a point, love is self-destruction. Let me share a simple day life example. Imagine a student in a classroom who always tries to be part of the popular group. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They agree to things they don't believe in. They keep offering their notes, their time, their energy. The group only keeps them around for convenience, not out of love. The student keeps watering a plastic plant. He or she doesn't realize that while they are wasting their kindness on people who don't care, perhaps one or two quiet classmates who have been true if only given attention. Sometimes even in families, this happens. One person keeps trying endlessly to earn approval from a relative who never acknowledges their worth. They try to prove themselves again and again, but the relative is too busy criticizing, comparing, or ignoring. That's like watering a plastic plant. On the other hand, there may be another relative, maybe an elder or a sibling, who always supports silently, but because we are obsessed with gaining attention where will never come, the love that is actually present. The truth is, friends, that in life we must learn discernment. Not everyone we give water to will bloom. People are deserts. They can take everything from you and still not give one flower in return. Keep trying to grow a God in a desert who will suffer, not the desert. It's you, because you will be left empty, drained. That is why wisdom lies in knowing where to invest your smile, your kindness, your energy. Now, don't misunderstand me. Not saying stop being kind. Compassion is never wasted because it makes you a better person. But kindness without wisdom is like pouring gallons of water on a plastic plant. Your effort looks noble, but it leads nowhere. Real wisdom is knowing the difference between someone who needs more time to open up and someone who has no capacity or intention to ever value. Think of a teacher. A teacher will not spend all their time on one student who is determined not to learn. Instead, will divide their energy, encouraging everyone but investing more in or eager to grow. If the teacher only keeps chasing the disinterested one, problems, the entire class suffers. Similarly, when you keep running behind people who don't care, the ones who do, your true friends, your family, your well-wishers. So the message is simple. Bring plastic plants. Save your water for real ones. Save your smile for those who value it. Save your time for those who appreciate. Importantly, save your energy for people who bring growth, not exhaustion, into your life. Here's something to reflect on tonight. Make a list of people in your life on one side. Write down those who always drain you, who never notice your efforts, those who only take but never give. On the other side, rise who bring you peace, who value your presence, those who multiply your smile. And then ask yourself, when I boast of my water, remember, my friends, a garden becomes beautiful not because of plastic flowers, but because of real plants that grow, bloom, and give fragrance back to who nurtures them. Similarly, your life will become beautiful not by chasing who never care, but by nurturing the relationships that are real, alive. So from today onwards, let us make a promise. No more wasting water on plastic plants. Let us protect our smile and our energy. Let us invest them where they will bear fruit. And let us remember, life is too precious to be drained on people who were never meant to grow with us. It is mutual, no one-sided. Respect is like a mirror, my friends. When you give, it reflects back. When it doesn't reflect, know something is wrong, because respect's truest form is never one-sided. It is mutual. It flows both ways. Like a river refreshes everyone along its banks. If he's only pouring respect into someone who never pours it back, then what you're experiencing is not respect, it is simply you undervaluing yourself. Think about a handshake. Where a person extends their hand and the other refuses to respond, the handshake cannot happen, it's incomplete. It's true for respect. One-sided respect is meaningless as a one-handed clap. You can try, but it will never create the sound you're hoping for. Let me share a daily life example. Imagine office environment. There's an employee who goes out their way to greet everyone with respect. Good morning, sir. How are you, ma'am? Please. Day after day, they treat everyone with dignity. But in return, some colleagues treat them with indifference. Now, is person's respectful nature wrong? Not all. But when respect becomes one-sided, it turns in exploitation. The moment others realize you will continue to respect them regardless of how they treat you, take you for granted. The same applies to friendships. Have you noticed how in some groups, always that one person who does all the adjusting? They make the plans, they compromise their choices, they give in every time just to keep the group that when they need support, nobody is there. That, my friends, true respect, that is what personally lowering themselves to keep others comfortable. Over time, such one-sided respect to disappointment, bitterness and pain. Even in families, this lesson is important. Picture a situation where one sibling always respects the other. They listen carefully, they support their decisions, they adjust their own life for the other's happiness. But the second sibling never acknowledges this. They only criticize, demand, plain. Now tell me, how long can such an equation last? If love without respect is suffocating, without reciprocity is equally toxic. I once heard a story of a bird and a tree. The bird will always come to the tree. Songs and rest in its shade. The tree respected the bird, protecting it from heat, wind and rain. The bird in turn, the tree by not harming it, by singing for it, by returning every day. Their relationship was mutual. But imagine if the bird kept coming, the tree said, "Why should I care? You mean nothing to me." Would the bird continue forever? Of course not. Day, it would fly away. That's exactly what happens when respect is not mutual. One eventually leaves. Now, in this closer to your personal life, if you are in a friendship, a workplace, even a relationship where your presence is treated like your absence, please pause and think. Keep smiling where you are not valued. Don't keep respecting where respect is not reciprocated. Because the truth is, people know how to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. If you constantly bow down, if you constantly accept neglect, you are silently telling others, "It's okay, treat me this way." But let's clarify something here. This doesn't mean both sides are always equal in ability or achievement. A teacher and a student, for example, equal in knowledge. A parent and a child are not equal in responsibility. But still, there must be respect in both directions. The student may respect the teacher's wisdom, and the teacher must respect the student's effort. A child respects and sacrifice, and the parent must respect the child's individuality. When respect is mutual, relationships blossom. When is one-sided, relationships wither. Think about the last time you felt deeply respected. Perhaps a colleague really thanked you, a friend really listened to you, or a family member acknowledged your effort. That simple give you energy. That is the power of mutual respect. It doesn't cost money, but enriches lives more than gold. On the other hand, the last time you felt disrespected, maybe someone interrupted you, ignored words, or treated you like you don't matter. Didn't it drain you? Danger of one-sided respect, it silently kills your spirit. So the principle is clear, respect is mutual, not one-sided. Protect your dignity, continue to be respectful because that's your value. But never allow yourself stay in spaces where your respect is. Lies where seed should be planted where it will grow, not on concrete where nothing will sprout. And remember, this doesn't mean you always agree with each other. You can disagree and still maintain dignity. You can say no and still be kind. Matters is that both sides feel valued, heard, and acknowledged. True is the foundation of every strong relationship, whether personal, professional, or spiritual. My dear friends, it is like breathing. If only one side is breathing, the other is not, the relationship will not survive. Both ways, so don't settle for one-sided respect. Don't diminish your worth by staying silent where you're ignored. Carry yourself with dignity, share your smile with wisdom, and surround yourself with those who know how to respect you as much as you respect them. People see your worth by the way you see, my friends. Let me ask you a simple question. When you walk into a jewelry shop, the price of a diamond, do you decide it yourself? No, the jeweler tells you its value, and you accepted the jeweler has placed that worth upon it. Now imagine if the jeweler labeled a real diamond for just 10 rupees, what would happen? People would rush in, grab it, and treat it like an ordinary stone, not because the diamond lost its value, but because the one displaying it didn't recognize its worth. Life works exactly the same way. People see your worth the way you see it. If you keep lowering your value, others will happily believe it. If you constantly act you are not good enough, people will treat you like you are not good enough. But the moment you stand tall with confidence and self-respect, the same people start to notice your worth. Treat you the way you teach it too. Take a daily life example. Imagine a student who always hides at the back, avoids answering questions, and says, I'm not smart. What will the teacher and classmates think? They will also assume this child is not capable, because that he or she praises themselves. But think of another student who, even if they don't know the right answer. Raises their hand with confidence, says, I'll try. If that very attitude makes people value their effort. The difference isn't intelligence, it's self-perception. In the workplace too, this is very visible. Have you seen them constantly doubt themselves? They say things like, but maybe don't deserve this promotion, or by not as good as others. They shrink in meetings, avoid sharing ideas, and keep themselves small. As a result, others also overlook, and then there are employees who speak with belief, who present their ideas with clarity, stand by their work. They may not be perfect, because they are respected, they project self-worth. Even in relationships, truth plays out. If someone keeps compromising their dignity, keeps saying yes to things they don't want, smiling even when they are hurt, they are silently teaching the other person, it's okay to treat me like this. And soon, the other person accepts as normal. But when you value yourself enough to say, but me, I deserve better, when the relationship can evolve into something healthier. A beautiful example can be drawn from nature. The sunflower, it always faces the sun. It doesn't bend down for weeds. It doesn't look down at the soil in shame. It follows cause of light, and even people passing by admire its beauty. In the same way, choose face your own light, your self-respect, your confidence, your talents. Others are naturally drawn to respect you. Here's the sad reality. Many people see their own worth. They compare themselves constantly with others. Oh, she looks better more than me. They are more successful. And slowly they convince themselves that they are less. But till rose starts comparing itself, lotus does lose its beauty. No, each flower has its own fragrance, its own season, its own charm. The problem is not in what we are, but in how we see ourselves. Think of an artist who paints but hides there because they think it's not good enough. Years later, some find the painting and says, oh, this is incredible. Why did you never show it? The artist whispers, because I thought no one would value it. Heuristics. The world lost tragic beauty not because the art wasn't worthy, because the artists never saw their own worth. My friends, when you undervalue yours too, things happen. First, people start treating you like you are ordinary. Second, you begin to miss opportunities that were waiting for you. When you honor yours, when you say, yes, I have flaws, but I am valuable. If people start to honor you too, it starts from within. Let me share a little to make this point clearer. Once, a man went to sell his goat in the market. People, it's just an ordinary goat, nothing special. After hours, nobody bought it. Another man came, looked at the same goat, announced loudly, this goat is rare, it gives the sweetest milk. It is one of the best. Within minutes, people started bidding for it. What changed? The goat. Only the way its worth was presented. Similarly, you are the same person, but the way you present yourself determines how others value. So start valuing your smile, your time, your energy, your heart. Call yourself just ordinary. You are extraordinary in your own way. And when you carry yourself with that awareness, people recognize it. Stop begging for validation. Stop waiting for others to tell you that you matter. First, believe it yourself. Will follow. Always remember this golden truth. People don't decide your worth. You do. Their opinions may reflect perception, but your value is permanent. Just as a diamond remains a diamond even if it lies in the dust. You may need to polish it. You need to display it with confidence, but the value was always there. So walk with dignity. Speak with confidence, self-respect, and show the world your true worth by the way you see yourself. Because when you respect yourself, others have no choice but to respect you too. Boundaries are no ego, they are self-respect, my friends. Biggest misconceptions in today's world is that when you draw a boundary, people say you are arrogant, you are proud, you have an ego. But the truth is very different. These are not ego. Boundaries are self-respect. They are the way you protect your peace, your energy. Think of dignity. Home. Every house has a door. Door has a lock. Now tell me, do you law because you hate the people outside? No. You law because you value the people inside. Boundaries work exactly like that. They are not about shutting people out. They are about keeping the right things in. When you set a boundary, you are not saying, I don't like you. You are saying, I respect myself not to allow what hurts me. In daily life, you see this everywhere. Colleague at work who constantly piles extra tasks on you. At first, you agree because you want to be kind, to upset them. But gradually, you realize they are exploit your nature. You start staying late, feeling exhausted while they go home early. If you keep saying yes, they will keep taking advantage. But the day you say, I'm sorry, take this extra task today, they might frown, they might even call you selfish. But that is not selfishness. Self-respect, that's you saying my time matters too. Boundaries become even important in relationships. Many people smile but cry on the inside, simply because they are afraid to say no. Friend keeps borrowing money but never returns it. Or partner keeps making hurtful comments and says, Bo, I was just joking. One family member keeps interfering in every decision you make, and you tolerate it all, thinking, if I object, think high an ego. But tell me, is it ego to protect yourself from repeated hurt? Is it ego to ask for respect? No, his self says, I am better than you. His self-respect says, I deserve to be treated well just like you. Take an example from parenting. A child who grows up without boundaries often struggles in adulthood. Parent never says no and always gives in. The child learns that the world will adjust for them. But when the child faces reality outside, they are shocked because life has rules. Like good parents set boundaries, not because they don't love their children, but because they love them enough to prepare for the real world. Similarly, when you set boundaries in your own life, you are not being unkind, you are teaching people how to treat you. Have you ever seen how traffic works? And if there are no traffic signals, cars would crash, chaos would rule, and everyone would be angry. But because there are red lights, speed and lanes, traffic flows smoothly. Boundaries in humans are like relationship signals. Without them, chaos enters your mind, your life. Everything becomes clear, balanced, and peaceful. But here's the problem: many people are afraid to set boundaries. Why? Because they fear rejection. They fear being misunderstood. They fear losing relationships. But let me tell you something important. Your relationship breaks just because you asked for respect. Then it was not a healthy relationship in the first place. Do not destroy real connections. They only expose fake ones. The people who genuinely love you respect your boundaries. The ones who don't were only using you. Take a very common scenario. A friend keeps calling you at night just to gossip. You are tired, you have work the next morning, but you still pick up. You can't want to hurt them, but the truth is your own health suffers. The day you say, I care for you, cannot talk this late, let's catch up tomorrow, you are setting a boundary. If that friend respects you, they will adjust. If they get angry and accuse you of changing, then maybe they never respected you to begin with. Self-respect and ego may look similar on the outside, but their roots are very different. Ego comes from insecurity, it wants to prove something. Self-respect comes from awareness, it wants to protect something. Self-respect is calm. Ego pushes us down, self-respect lifts yourself up. When you understand this difference, stop feeling guilty about setting boundaries. And boundaries don't always have to be spoken, sometimes they are silent. Choosing an exam to reply immediately to every message is a boundary. To walk away from arguments is a boundary. Choosing to spend time with people who uplift you instead of those who drain you is a boundary. Each time you do this, you are silently telling yourself and the world, I value my peace. It is a story about a monk who lived peacefully in a small hut. People from the village would come and ask him questions, and he always welcomed them with kindness. But one day, cursed to mock him, they shouted insults, laughed at him, and disturbed his peace. The monk listened quietly, then stood close the door of his hut. The men inside, the men shouted, why are you hiding? Prayed us, the monk replied calmly. But when guests come to my home with gifts, I receive them with gratitude. But come with garbage, I don't open my door. There's not fear, that's self-respect. In my friends, in the same way, you don't need to open the door of your heart to every demand, every expectation that others throw at you. You have the right to enter what stays outside. That is not ego, that is healthy living. So remember this: boundary walls that keep love out, they are fences that keep dignity in. Don't be afraid to say no when something hurts you. Don't feel guilty for valuing your time, your peace, and your emotions, because at the end of the day, who truly fully care will never be offended by your boundaries. They will be grateful that you had the courage to set them. Don't chase where you're wanted. Have you ever seen the sun running behind flowers? No. The sun simply rises in its own time, shines in its own strength, and every flower that needs its light naturally turns towards it. The sun never chases, flowers come by themselves. My friends, this is one of the most profound lessons of life. Don't chase where you're not wanted. Because the truth is, when you see yourself into places where you are not welcomed, you don't gain respect. You lose your dignity. Daily life, many of us make mistakes without realizing it. Think about friendships. Always that one friend who is constantly the calling, the one texting, the one arranging meetings. They keep trying, showing up, they using their schedules just to fit in. And yet when they need company, nobody comes. Always a one-sided effort. That's like a flower begging the sun to shine on it. It doesn't happen that way. Real connections are not forced, they are mutual. If you find yourself always chasing, maybe it's time to pause and reflect. At a workplace scenario, imagine an employee who always goes out of their way to please the boss. They stay late, they take extra work, they sacrifice their weekends, all in the hope of being noticed, of being valued. The boss never appreciates it. Instead, they keep expecting more. The employee keeps chasing recognition, but the recognition never comes. The sad part is, while chasing validation in one place, the employee often ignores opportunities elsewhere, places where their work would have been celebrated. Happens in relationships too. Sometimes our partner keeps doing everything, planning surprising, initiating conversations, problems, while the other remains indifferent. Over time, the one who keeps chasing becomes tired and broken. Two meant to be a person is always running and the other is standing still. Love, like the sun and the flowers, flow naturally. There's a saying, If people walk away from you, let them. Chasing after them will not bring them closer. It will only take you further away from yourself. Have you noticed in a marketplace when a shopkeeper and after a customer shouting, "But please buy," what happens? Usually feels pressured and walks away faster. But the shop that stands with confidence, showcasing its value, attract buyers naturally. Life works the same way. When you chase where you're not wanted, people run. Stir in your worth, the right people come. Now let's take a simple example from school days. Do you remember how some students would desperately try to get into the popular group? They would laugh at jokes they didn't find funny, copy habits that weren't theirs, and even change themselves just to belong. But in the end, what did they receive? A temporary seat in a group where they were never truly respected. On the other hand, those students who stayed authentic, who didn't run behind anyone, often ended up forming the most genuine friendships. Why? Because they didn't chase. They had to my friends, chasing people who don't want you only leads to pain, questioning your worth. You start asking, what is wrong with me? Why don't they want me? But the truth is, nothing with you. The only mistake is you are standing in the wrong garden, trying to bloom where there's no sunlight. Times rejects a reflection of your lack of value. It is a redirection towards where you truly belong. Think of water. When it flows towards a rock, the rock doesn't move. Water doesn't stand there begging the rock to shift. It simply changes its course and continues its journey, eventually reaching the ocean. That's how you must be. Keep flowing towards people or places that are unmoved by you. Adjust your course and you'll find your ocean, the space where you are welcomed and value love. It is also important to understand that not chasing doesn't mean being arrogant. It means being wise. It means knowing the differences between persistence and pointlessness. Persistence is when you keep trying for something that has potential. This is when you keep forcing where there is no possibility. Wisdom lies in knowing when to continue and when to let go. Here's a story that illustrates this beautifully. A young kept proposing to a girl who never said yes. He brought gifts, wrote letters, did everything he could. After years of chasing, he was exhausted and heartbroken. One day a friend asked him, "Though, are you wasting your time? A closed door will not open just because you keep knocking. Maybe your door is somewhere else." The young man finally stopped chasing. A few years later, he met someone who genuinely valued him and his life changed. Sometimes, busy knocking on the door that we miss the open waiting for us. So the lesson is simple. Chase where you're not wanted. Your value isn't decreased because someone fails to see it. Your worth diminished because someone ignores it. Just like the sun doesn't lose its brightness if one flower refuses to bloom. Lose your shine if some people fail to recognize it. Stand firm in who you are. Be kind, be loving. But don't run after those who don't care. Let your presence be like the sun, steady, warm, radiant. And trust that the right flowers, the right people will always turn towards your light. Your to door, my friends, let me begin with a simple picture. Imagine a doormat lying at the entrance of a house. Everyone who enters wipes their dirty shoes on it. Some people step on it gently, some stamp on it roughly, but nobody ever bent to say thank you to the mat. After all, it's just a doormat. And now the question is, are you living your life like that mat? Are you allowing others to wipe their negativity, their stress, their disrespect on you? Silently keep smiling and saying it's okay. If so, then let me remind you today, you are not a doormat, you are a livomat. Breathe human being with dignity, value and self-worth. There is a big difference between humility and humiliation. It means you are grounded, kind and respectful. But humiliation is when you allow yourself to be walked over, disrespected, treated as if you don't matter. Too often people refuse the two. They think if I stay silent, if I keep adjusting, tolerating, that means I'm humble. No. Real humility is strength. It does not mean allowing people to take advantage of you. It means respecting yourself while respecting others. Think about this in daily life. In workplaces, there are employees who never speak up, even when their ideas are stolen. Even when credit is taken away, they keep working hard but demand recognition. The result? Colleagues keep stepping on them, taking advantage of their silence. Over time, the silent worker becomes invisible, not because they lack talent, but because they acted like a doormat. On the other hand, those who stand up politely but firmly, says my work and I deserve to be acknowledged, they often gain respect. The difference isn't capability, it's the courage to say, I am not a doormat. If the same thing happens in families, there are people who carry the entire weight of household responsibilities, cooking, cleaning, caring, without any appreciation. They do it day after day, a year, while others sit comfortably expecting it as a duty. And the sad part is, the one who sacrifices is often respected the least. Because when you allow people to treat your sacrifices as ordinary, seeing the value behind it, But the moment you draw a boundary and say, I need help, I need respect, suddenly the dynamic changes. Respect is not demanded through anger, is earned through self-respect. Look, relationships too. Sometimes one partner keeps giving time, giving love, giving effort, the other takes and takes without balance. The giver stays quiet, thinking, if I keep giving, they will realize my worthy. But what usually happens, the taker becomes more entitled. They wipe the emotional dirt on the giver, confident that they will never complain. My friends, love does mean allowing yourself to be treated like a doormat. Love should lift both hearts, crush one the feet of another. There's a powerful life lesson here. People do not always treat you the way you deserve. They treat you the way you allow them to. If you allow them to step on you, they will. If you show them that your kindness has no limits, they may exploit it. But when you show your kindness balanced with self-respect, they begin to value you. Think of gold. People handle gold carefully because they know its value, but people throw plastic around because they think it's cheap. Are you showing the world about yourself that you are plastic or that you are gold? Here's a little story. Once, a farmer had two bulls. One bull always let the farmer whip him and overload him with weight. The farmer thought, bull will never resist, so I can use him endlessly. The second bull, whenever overloaded, down and refused to move until the weights adjusted. The farmer realized he could only use this bull if he was fair. The first bull became broken, while the second strong and healthy. The lesson: when you allow yourself to be treated like a doormat, you may think you are being helpful, but in reality, you are being destroyed. Is saying no to unfairness. In our spiritual traditions, humility is always praised, but nowhere does it say you must let people abuse you. Even saints, while compassionate, set boundaries. They forgave. They didn't with repeated disrespect. Forgiveness and tolerance are noble qualities, but when practiced without wisdom, turn into self-destruction. So, my dear, remember this. Being humble doesn't mean being weak. Being kind doesn't mean being blind. And being respectful doesn't mean accepting disrespect. If you bend too much, people assume you're made to be stepped on. But if you stand tall with calmness and dignity, they will recognize that you're not to treat it lightly. Next time you feel yourself saying yes when your heart says no, and ask, am I doing this out of love? Or am I doing this because I fear rejection? Love and respect should never come at the cost of your dignity. People love you when you act like a doormat. Then that is not love, it's convenience. Real love, real friendship, real respect will never demand that you raise yourself. Always remind yourself, you are not a mat, the doorway of someone's life. You are a master creation designed with purpose and value. Don't let people wipe dirt on you. Stand firm, with strength, and live with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. Because at the end of the day, humility without self-respect is slavery, and kindness without boundaries is exploitation. You are not a doormat. You are much more. You're to door, my friends. Let me begin with a simple picture. Imagine a doormat lying at the entrance of a house. Everyone who enters wipes their dirty shoes on it. Some people step on it gently, some stamp on it roughly, but nobody ever bent to say thank you to the mat. After all, it's just a doormat. And now the question is, are you living your life like that mat? Are you allowing others to wipe their negativity, their stress, their disrespect on you? Silently keep smiling and saying it's okay. If so, then let me remind you today, you are not a doormat, you are a living mat. Breathe, human being with dignity, value, and self-worth. There is a big difference between humility and humiliation. It means you are grounded, kind, and respectful. But humiliation is when you allow yourself to be walked over, disrespected, treated as if you don't matter. Too often people refuse the two. They think if I stay silent, if I keep adjusting, tolerating, that means I'm humble. No. Real humility is strength. It does not mean allowing people to take advantage of you. It means respecting yourself while respecting others. Think about this in daily life. In workplaces, there are employees who never speak up, even when their ideas are stolen. Even when credit is taken away, they keep working hard but demand recognition. The result? Colleagues keep stepping on them, taking advantage of their silence. Over time, the silent worker becomes invisible, not because they lack talent, but because they acted like a doormat. On the other hand, those who stand up politely but firmly, says my work and I deserve to be acknowledged, they often gain respect. The difference isn't capability, it's the courage to say, I am not a doormat. If the same thing happens in families, there are people who carry the entire weight of household responsibilities, cooking, cleaning, caring, without any appreciation. They do it day after day, a year, while others sit comfortably expecting it as a duty. And the sad part is, the one whose sacrifice is often respected the least. Because when you allow people to treat your sacrifices as ordinary, seeing the value behind it, But the moment you draw a boundary and say, I need help, I need respect, suddenly the dynamic changes. Respect is not demanded through anger, is earned through self-respect. Look, relationships too. Sometimes one partner keeps giving time, giving love, giving effort, the other takes and takes without balance. The giver stays quiet, thinking, if I keep giving, they will realize my worthy. But what usually happens, the taker becomes more entitled. They wipe the emotional dirt on the giver, confident that they will never complain. My friends, love does mean allowing yourself to be treated like a doormat. Love should lift both hearts. Crush one the feet of another. There's a powerful life lesson here. People do not always treat you the way you deserve. They treat you the way you allow them to. If you allow them to step on you, they will. If you show them that your kindness has no limits, they may exploit it. But when you show your kindness is balanced with self-respect, they begin to value you. Think of gold. People handle gold carefully because they know its value, but people throw plastic around because they think it's cheap. Are you showing the world about yourself that you are plastic or that you are gold? Here's a little story. Once, a farmer had two bulls. One bull always let the farmer whip him and overload him with weight. The farmer thought, bull will never resist, so I can use him endlessly. The second bull, whenever overloaded, down and refused to move until the weights adjusted. The farmer realized he could only use this bull if he was fair. Time the first bull became broken, while the second strong and healthy. The lesson: when you allow yourself to be treated like a doormat, you may think you are being helpful, but in reality, you are being destroyed. Is saying no to unfairness. In our spiritual traditions, humility is always praised, but nowhere does it say you must let people abuse you. Even saints, while compassionate, set boundaries. They forgave. They didn't with repeated disrespect. Forgiveness and tolerance are noble qualities, but when practiced without wisdom, turn into self-destruction. So, my dear, remember this. Being humble doesn't mean being weak. Being kind doesn't mean being blind. And being respectful doesn't mean accepting disrespect. If you bend too much, people assume are made to be stepped on. But if you stand tall with calmness and dignity, they will recognize that you're not to treat it lightly. Next time you feel yourself saying yes when your heart says no, and ask, am I doing this out of love? Or am I doing this because I fear rejection? Love and respect should never come at the cost of your dignity. People love you when you act like a doormat. Then that is not love, it's convenience. Real love, real friendship, real respect will never demand that you raise yourself. Always remind yourself, you are not a mat, the doorway of someone's life. You are a master creation designed with purpose and value. Don't let people wipe dirt on you. Stand firm, smile with strength, and live with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. Because at the end of the day, humility without self-respect is slavery, and kindness without boundaries is exploitation. You are not a doormat. You are much more. Invest where you appreciate, my friends. Let's start with a simple truth. Every drop of water counts, every seed has value, and every effort carries energy. The question is not whether you should give. The question is where you should give. Questions, because if you're into a pot with a hole, no matter how much you pour, it will never fill. Similarly, if you invest your time, your energy, your ideas into people or places that do not appreciate you, your heart will always feel empty. It is so important to invest where you are appreciated. Let me share a daily life example. Imagine a teacher in a classroom, prepares her lessons with full sincerity, try to inspire her students. Some students listen attentively, ask questions, and try to read. Others sit at the back laughing, mocking or scrolling on their phones. Now, teacher only focuses her energy on those who mock. She will feel drained and disrespected. But if she invests more of her attentions into who genuinely value her teaching, she will feel fulfilled and her efforts will bear fruit. The energy is the same, but the place of investment changes everything. In friendships too. Think about that one friend who always shows up when you need them, remembers your little achievements, who listens to you without judgment. And then think about who ignores your messages, takes you for granted, or only comes to you when they need something. Now ask yourself, where do you invest more of your time? Many of us spend hours chasing those who don't value us, while neglecting those who genuinely do. And then wonder why our hearts feel starved of appreciation. The truth is simple. Flourish when you wore the right roots. Even in careers, this lesson is powerful. Imagine two companies. In one company, your boss appreciates you, encourages your growth, and thanks you for your hard work. In another company, no matter how much effort you put in, you're undervalued and constantly criticized. Where would your talents truly shine? It's not about running from challenges, it's about recognizing where your efforts are recognized. A seed will not grow in barren soil, not how much sunlight it gets. In the same way, your abilities will not blossom in environments that don't appreciate you. But in the rest, or even a small seed can turn into a mighty tree. Let me share a small story. A young violinist played on the street corner. Hundreds of people walked by, some tossing coins without looking, knowing him completely. His music went unnoticed. A week later, he played the same piece on a grand stage in a concert hall. The same nose, hands, the same violin. But this time, the hall was packed. People clapped for minutes. Some even cried the beauty of his music. The audience, the environment, appreciation. The lesson is clear. You might be a masterpiece. You're playing in front of people who don't care. You will always feel ordinary. Invest your music where hearts are listening. Another everyday example. Think of cooking. A mother spends preparing food with love. If her family sits at table, eats silently, and never says a word of appreciation, but shields the family, says a thank you, this meal is wonderful, her heart feels nourished. The same effort, appreciation multiplies its impact. Without appreciation, giving feel a burden. With appreciation, giving become joy. Now, people will ask, but shouldn't we without expecting anything in return? Absolutely. Giving should be selfless. But selflessness doesn't mean blindness. If you keep poured into places that drain you, eventually you will be empty. You pour from an empty cup. That's why you need to choose wisely where to pour your energy. When you invest in people who appreciate you, you are not just feeding them, you are also feeding your own soul. Appreciation is not about ego, it is about nourishment. Let's take a look at nature. Nectar only from flowers that open up for them. They don't waste their time banging on closed buds. Why? Because they know their energy is precious. Even bees with their tiny lifespans know where to invest, shouldn't we? Beings also learn where our energy bears fruit. Life is too short to beg for appreciation in places where it will never come. Appreciation is like sunlight. Without it, best can feel dull, can lifeless, but in its warmth we bloom. In a workplace where an employee hears a thanks in a while. Imagine a home where children hear, "I'm proud of you." Imagine a marriage where partners say, "I value you." These small words, small gestures have the power to make people feel alive. When you find such spaces, invest deeply your best, because in those places your investment will multiply, not drain. Friends, don't waste your life knocking on closed doors, begging for recognition. Instead, through open door, people are ready to value. Don't exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth to those blind to it. Share your worth with those who already see it. The world is vast. There's people who are waiting to appreciate it, the very others ignoring you. Remember this. Your time is an investment. Your love is and your kindness is an investment. Like money, investments should be made wisely. Keep pouring a place that only takes and never gives. You are not being generous, you are being unfair to yourself. Pour into places that value your generosity, your energy multiplies and your heart feels rich. So today, stop investing in places where your efforts vanish unnoticed. Start investing where your presence is valued, your efforts are acknowledged, and your soul feels nourished. Because life is too precious to waste on people and places that do not see your worth. And remember, when you invest where you're appreciated, both you and the world around you will flourish.